The commie wave just reached the West. Denver Democrats voted for an Ethiopian-born communist barista.
That same city just voted to send a 29-year-old recovering lawyer, barista, immigrant, Democratic Socialist to Congress.
That's Milat Kiros. Milat, born in Africa, works at a coffee shop, just upset a 15-term Democrat congresswoman after being outspent 2-1. The Ethiopian barista knows what she wants, and she wants it now.
We will not wait! We will not wait to abolish ICE and pass Medicare for all! We will not wait to put an end to the politics of the past, to get big money out of our politics, and to reject corporate PACs and AIPAC.
Milat the Mug, just getting started. She wants to legalize every alien in America.
Abolishing ICE is just one step, right? Democrats have been in power multiple times over the last few decades and did nothing to address the immigration reform that we actually need.
ICE expenditures, increased spending.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think there has to be an immediate pathway for every single undocumented immigrant that's here in this country today.
The illegals didn't earn the citizenship, but she wants to give it away anyway, just like how her father got it. Her dad came to this country from Ethiopia through the diversity visa lottery. We spin a roulette wheel of non-white countries, it lands on Ethiopia, and we let someone in. Does Kiros realize how lucky she is that she landed here? Now, obviously not, because she's done nothing with her life. She hasn't contributed at all to this country. She went to law school, got a job as a lawyer, then got fired. So she's $250,000 in debt, has no investments, no home, no husband, and only made 15 grand this year. Is her daddy paying her bills? Is someone else paying her bills? We reached out to her campaign, no response. You know what she wants to do now? She wants to get a PhD, obviously. She's taking out another loan to get a PhD in public policy. The woman clearly can't manage money or manage her life. So naturally, she's running for Congress to tell everybody else how to live theirs. And the first thing she wants to do, fire hips.
Would you support Hakeem Jeffries for Speaker of the House?
I'm not supporting anybody for leadership that takes corporate PAC money.
Do you have a better nominee that you'd like to see lead the Democrats in the House?
No, I just have that bare rule. There's no corporate PAC money.
This communist is making enemies before she's even in Congress. Democrats are getting walked all over.
She is among those who have said that she will not support Hakeem Jeffries as Democratic leader. You're a member of leadership. What do you say to that?
Oh, look, I think despite what these candidates are saying, the fact is that the underlying message is about affordability. And that, to me, is where the frustration is coming.
Their message is about affordability? Well, yeah. When you don't have a real job, life's unaffordable. Maybe she should have thought about that before she yelled Free Palestine at her law firm. When I was 29, I had an affordability crisis. Most people at that age do. But hard work pays off. Being a college student into your 30s and then saying the system's rigged is bull. How does she even know it's rigged? She hasn't even worked in the system. She's a student who serves coffee. She wasn't born here, and then she's going to come here and blow it all up? A system that's for 250 years worked better than anywhere in the history of the world, a lot better than Ethiopia. This commie wave isn't just a New York thing like the Democrats first claimed. It's gone national. Kiros is the 7th communist that could make it to Congress next year.
We are winning from coast to coast, from every level of office. We are bringing
already starting. There's a heat wave this week, and Mondani is telling everybody, quote, "It's hot out there, and the power grid's working overtime to keep us cool. Set your AC to 78 degrees. Let's ease demand and get through the heat together." Supply and demand's a funny thing, isn't it? When it's hot, people crank their ACs. Instead of telling people to bake at 78, maybe get the grid ready. Maybe increase supply. All these communists went Green New Dealio, shutting down power plants and pipelines, and now we have to sweat together because they didn't beef up the power grid? New York City, the financial capital of the world, rationing air conditioning. The government should not tell people what temperature to keep their room. It's none of their business. This is a free country. We paid for it. Instead of living in a civilized society, Commie Mondani wants us to suffer together, and that's communism. He just doesn't understand how the world works. Mondani's never had a real job. In college, he majored in African studies.
I think that it actually is a consequence of the fact that the Democrat Party has become run by the universities and by the professors. This is not working class union Democrats. This is not socially conservative people who just want a fair shake at life. This is fundamentally a view that the United States is an evil country that must be dismantled from the ground and then built back up. That's communism at its core.
You'll never guess who Mondani is in a long-distance relationship with. Kamala Harris. Axios reports that 2 days after the New York sweep, Kamala called him to talk about the future of the party. And behind the scenes, she's also been sitting down with Palestinian activists. In April, Kamala even held a secret meeting with AOC. Here's what's going on. The Democrats aren't going to kick the commies out of their tent yet. Now, if they lose in the midterms, yeah, they'll try to kick them out. But if Democrats win back the House and Senate, commies will get the credit, because they're bringing a lot of energy. Even if it's just an anti-Trump wave thing, they'll claim credit. And that faction is going to be rambunctious. It's got to be reckoned with. And here's why. 1 year after the midterms, we have presidential primaries. Kamala is running. She's going to need the commie wing in the primaries. They're professional organizers. They don't have real jobs. They have nothing else to do all day. Kamala needs to consolidate the base to make another run at the nom. The money men don't like her because she blew all their cash, so she's making new friends on the far left. But she might have to fight it out with another woman. And I'm not talking about knee pads.
J.D. Vance just said in an interview that he thinks you are going to be the leading Democratic candidate for president in 2028. What's your response to that?
I mean, I hope he is. That's what I'll say.
All the contenders are courting the commies. Newsom's pitching a wealth tax. Shapiro says, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Ribbs says a healthy portion of communism never killed anyone.
Are their victories good for your party?
I think what's good is that there are Democrats who are standing up and fighting, that there are Democrats who are standing up and talking about and doing something about addressing the high cost of things. So I'm not suggesting that I had one candidate or another in any of these races. I'm just suggesting that that is the recipe for winning in 2026 and I think beyond.
Ribbs knows his recipes. Communism hasn't won anything yet. They bounced a few incumbents out of deep blue districts. Wait until communists face off against Republicans in swing states. A New York Times poll, in every Senate battleground except for Maine, the majority of the Democratic Party says they're too extreme. Communism is killing Democrats right now.
Chance to win the Senate. The Republican chances, as you noted, John, the environment is getting a little bit better for Republicans. On May 1, Republicans had a 51% chance to take back the Senate. Now it's a 59% chance. Look, Democrats have a shot here. There are seats on the table, but the fundamentals are against them.
Some of these Democrats are just wearing the commie mask as a disguise. Congressman Ro Khanna, all in on the Mondani tribe, but his new financial disclosure, Ro's got mo money, mo problems. Do you have an elevator in your house? Ro's goes up faux flows. Does Ro have an EV? Nope. Range Rover, runs on gas. His elementary school kids own 3 different golf clubs. It's all in an irrevocable trust. Taxman can't get it. Smart, but hypocrite. Roe married an heiress to an auto parts fortune. Roe's worth $1/3 billion. He's a prolific stock trader, too, almost as active as Nance. Maybe Roe can throw the DNC a bone because they are dead broke. The DNC has more debt than cash, and the RNC has over $125 million in the bank. The Supreme Court just liberalized campaign finance, and the Republicans are going to take that dough and bury the commies with it. Trump skewered Democrats as extremists the last time. Now they're just making it easy. Now, if the Democrats don't do well, that's when the real civil war starts. The commies will get all the blame, and we're going to see a back alley knife fight. Politico reports that Hakeem's already thinking about gerrymandering the commies out of office. Is it going to work? Well, we'll see. Let's ask a voter.
I go back to the Margaret Thatcher line. Socialism is a wonderful system until you run out of other people's money. I think these kids grew up getting free stuff, and now they're being promised more free stuff, and that's why they're voting. They need to learn what made this country great, and how, it was hard work, but you get rewarded for hard work.
The American dream is dead if you don't want to work. Colleges have been conditioning kids not to. They've been taught the country stole the land, ripped the world off. So these lifelong students who got everything free at college feel like America owes them something, that they shouldn't have to earn it. So they want to take your money, pay themselves, and then splash it around to the victims to get even. Give it to the illegals, the homeless, reparations. Give it to the whole world. Give everybody free health care, free buses, free rent, free teeth. Just make sure when it's hot, keep the thermostat at 78. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.